Before all the chaos and drama that would later explode online, my life was painfully ordinary. I was the kind of person people barely noticed in the hallway. Quiet, a little awkward, always trying to stay in the background. My name is Claire, and if you had asked anyone at school to describe me, they'd probably shrug and say, "Oh, the shy one with the sketchbook." I loved drawing, writing silly little poems and hiding in the library. Nothing about me screamed TikTok star. My sister Ava, on the other hand, was the complete opposite. She was the golden girl, loud, outgoing, beautiful in that effortless way that made people gravitate toward her. She could walk into any room and suddenly everyone wanted to hear what she had to say. Ava lived on TikTok, constantly posting dances, jokes, and story times that racked up thousands of views. To her, followers and likes were more than just numbers. They were her oxygen. At home, the difference between us was impossible to ignore. Mom adored Ava's charisma and would brag to family friends about her social media skills, while Dad scrolled through her TikTok comments like they were proof she was destined for fame. When it came to me, their praise was gentler, quieter. Claire's smart, or Claire's artistic. Nice compliments, but not the kind that lit up their faces the way Ava's online popularity did. That imbalance shaped our relationship. Ava wasn't cruel all the time, but she liked to tease me. To her, I was the boring sister, the background character in her spotlight. Most of the time, I ignored it, swallowing the sting, because I figured that was just how life worked when you had a sibling who sparkled brighter than you. But things changed once TikTok became the center of her world. Ava realized that mocking me wasn't just fun, it was content. She would throw a camera in my face during dinner, catching me mid-bite and adding captions like, "Why does she chew like that?" Or film me when I'd just woken up with messy hair. To her, it was harmless comedy. To me, it was humiliating. The worst part? People thought it was funny. Classmates started quoting her videos at me in the hallways, laughing at the same jokes she made online. I'd hear whispers, "That's Ava's sister, the one from the TikToks." Suddenly, my identity wasn't mine anymore. I wasn't Claire, the girl who liked drawing. I was the awkward sister, the punchline to Ava's jokes. At night, scrolling through her account felt like torture. Every mocking video she posted got thousands of views, hearts, laughing emojis. It seemed like the entire world had chosen a side, and it wasn't mine. I tried to convince myself it didn't matter, that likes and comments weren't real life, but deep down, it did matter. It was my real life being turned into entertainment. I didn't know it yet, but all those little humiliations, the jokes, the stares, the laughter, were building towards something much bigger. Something that would flip everything upside down. The shift from casual teasing to outright humiliation happened so gradually, I didn't even notice at first. At home, Ava had always made little jokes at my expense, rolling her eyes at my clothes, mimicking my voice when I got nervous, or making fun of how I spent hours doodling instead of doing something useful. But when she realized TikTok audiences ate that kind of content up, it was like she had discovered gold. The first video that really stung was one she titled, "My Sister Trying to Be an Artist." It was just me sitting at my desk, focused on my sketchbook, completely unaware that she had her phone angled at me. She added a voiceover where she exaggerated my voice, saying, "This is my greatest masterpiece," before zooming in on a messy, half-finished drawing. She uploaded it with hashtags like "You Cringe" and "Jeeb or Fail." Within hours, it blew up, over 100,000 views and comments like, "LOL, she looks so awkward," and "She's such a background character." That phrase, background character, haunted me. Suddenly, it wasn't just Ava calling me that. Strangers online, people I didn't even know, were laughing at me. Of course, Ava loved the attention. She'd run into my room waving her phone, squealing about her follower count climbing. "Don't be so dramatic, Claire. It's just a joke." "People think it's funny," she said whenever I protested. But it wasn't funny, not to me. Every joke chipped away at me until I felt like I was being erased, turned into nothing more than her clown. The videos got worse. She filmed me eating cereal, captioning it, "Why does she chew like a lawnmower?" She secretly recorded me singing softly while doing chores, posting it as Claire auditioning for American Idol and failing. At school, classmates started mimicking those same captions back to me. I'd walk past the cafeteria and hear someone fake sing off-key, just loud enough for me to know it was aimed at me. One video in particular nearly broke me. I had been crying quietly in my room after a rough day, and Ava barged in, phone already recording. She caught my tear-streaked face and posted it with the text, POV, your sister cries over everything. That one spread like wildfire. Comments poured in, she's so sensitive, grow up, drama queen. I remember staring at the screen, my stomach twisting, thinking, they don't even know me, and they already hate me. But to Ava, the mockery was just fuel. Her followers adored her savage sense of humor. She was the funny, charismatic sister who could do no wrong. And I was the butt of the joke, the silent, awkward shadow that made her shine brighter. I wanted to fight back, to scream at her to stop, but every time I opened my mouth, she laughed and told me I was being too sensitive. And in a way, I believed her. Maybe I was overreacting. Maybe I was the boring sister, destined to be her punching bag. What I didn't realize then was that the humiliation wasn't just hurting me, it was planting a seed. A quiet, burning anger that would one day turn into something much, much bigger. It happened on an ordinary Thursday evening, the kind where I thought nothing worse could possibly happen. I had just come home from school, exhausted after another day of people whispering jokes pulled straight from Ava's TikToks. I wanted nothing more than to disappear into my room, put on my headphones, and drown out the world. But Ava had other plans. When I walked into the kitchen, I noticed her phone propped up against the counter, the little red light blinking. She grinned at me, far too sweetly, and before I could even ask what she was doing, she dumped a glass of cold water over my head. I gasped, shocked, dripping, and humiliated. She burst into laughter, shrieking, "Guys, look at this! Claire can't even handle a little splash!" I stood there, shivering, while she danced around the kitchen, already editing the clip in her head. "This is going to go viral," she said gleefully. "You're welcome for the content, sis," and she was right. The video went up that night titled Pranking My Crybaby Sister. It exploded. 500,000 views in 2 days. Comments rolled in like knives. "This is comedy gold. Your sister's such a loser. Do another prank on her." At school, it was worse. Someone actually reenacted the moment by pretending to pour water on me at lunch, while the rest of the table laughed. I felt the heat rise in my cheeks, my throat tight. But I swallowed it down because crying would only prove their point. That night, I locked myself in my room and scrolled through the comments until the words blurred together. Loser, crybaby, background character. Each insult pressed harder against the raw wound Ava had carved into me. My chest ached with something I couldn't name, humiliation mixed with fury. I confronted her, finally, my voice shaking as I begged her to delete the video. She rolled her eyes. "Claire, relax. You should be happy you're even in my videos. Do you know how many people would kill for that kind of attention?" She tossed her hair and smirked, soaking in the glow of her ring light. She didn't even see me, just the likes, the comments, the endless validation. That was the moment something inside me snapped. For weeks, months even, I had let her walk all over me, treating me like a prop in her comedy routine. I told myself to endure it, that it wasn't worth fighting back. But standing there, dripping with anger, watching her bask in fame built on my humiliation, I realized I couldn't take it anymore. I wasn't just hurt. I was enraged. Ava thought she was untouchable, that she could humiliate me forever without consequence. She had no idea that the very same platform she used to tear me down would one day be the stage for her downfall. That night, I stopped crying. I stopped feeling sorry for myself. And for the first time, I started thinking about payback. It wouldn't be immediate. It wouldn't be clumsy. It would be smart, calculated, and devastating. And when it came, Ava would never see it coming. After that humiliating prank, something shifted in me. I stopped reacting to Ava's jabs, stopped begging her to take the videos down. On the surface, I went quiet, just the awkward little sister again. But underneath, my mind was racing. If Ava was going to use TikTok to destroy me, then I'd use TikTok to destroy her. The first step was watching her more carefully than ever before. Ava had a predictable routine. She lived for the camera. rehearsing dances in the mirror, practicing fake laughs before she hit record. She loved pretending to be authentic, but I knew the truth. Almost everything she posted was staged. She had an image, funny, confident, perfect, and she guarded it fiercely. But no one is perfect all the time. And behind that carefully curated persona, Ava had cracks. I just had to find one big enough to split open. It didn't take long. Late at night, when she thought everyone was asleep, Ava spent hours doom-scrolling through comments. She'd zoom in on hateful remarks, reading them over and over, her jaw clenched. Once, I caught her practicing her smile in the mirror, tilting her head just right, muttering, "No, that angle makes my nose look huge." Then there were the lies. Ava bragged online about being all natural, swearing she never edited her photos or used filters. But I'd seen her Facetune app. Her real skin, her real body looked nothing like the flawless girl she portrayed. She also claimed she was the nicest sister ever, posting fake sweet videos of us hugging that always cut right before she shoved me away. That was it. That was the opening. Ava's entire empire was built on a fake image. And I had the receipts. So I started recording. Not the staged, camera-ready Ava everyone knew, but the raw, unfiltered version. I caught her snapping at Mom when she didn't bring her coffee fast enough. I filmed her screaming at her phone after losing a TikTok draft. I even recorded her standing in front of the mirror, sucking in her stomach and cursing about her stupid face before hitting record on a bubbly dance video. Piece by piece, I built a collection, a highlight reel of the Ava no one had ever seen. I kept it secret, pretending to scroll quietly while she filmed, but every clip I saved tightened the knot of anticipation in my chest. The more I gathered, the more thrilling it felt. For once I wasn't powerless. For once I wasn't the background character. I was the one with the story worth telling. I didn't know the exact moment I'd release it, but I knew it had to be perfect. Not just a petty jab, but a complete unmasking. A video so undeniable, so raw that people couldn't laugh at me anymore, only at her. Ava had spent months turning me into her joke. Soon I'd turn her entire world into mine. And when it happened, she wouldn't just lose her followers. She'd lose the one thing she valued more than anything else, her perfect image. The clock was ticking. Her downfall was coming, and I would be the one to press upload. The night I decided to upload the video, my hands were trembling so hard I could barely hold my phone. I had spent weeks collecting clips, trimming them, arranging them like puzzle pieces. Now it was time to put them together. The perfect takedown. The video started innocently enough. A short montage of Ava's best TikToks. Her bubbly dances, her fake laugh, her chirpy sister love skits where she hugged me for 2 seconds before cutting the camera. The kind of polished, perfect image her followers adored. Then came the flip. The screen glitched, and suddenly it was the real Ava. Raw clips spliced between her polished videos, her snapping at Mom, rolling her eyes after a take, muttering, "Ah, this is so cringe." But whatever gets views. A shot of her screaming at her phone when a draft didn't save. Her zooming in on her own face, whispering, "God, I look disgusting," before turning on her fake smile. The contrast was brutal and deliberate. I titled it, "The Ava You Don't See." My finger hovered over post for a long second. Once I tapped it, there was no going back, no undo, no hiding. I pressed upload. At first, nothing happened. A few likes trickled in, then a handful of comments. "Wait, is this real? No way, this is her sister, right?" Within an hour, the numbers skyrocketed. Notifications buzzed nonstop, my phone vibrating like it was alive. Thousands of views turned into hundreds of thousands. Comments exploded, people dissecting every clip, every inconsistency. So she is fake. LMAO, this is brutal. I can't believe I stand her. Not her treating her sister like garbage while pretending to be nice. By morning, the video had gone fully viral. Over 2 million views. Ava's name was trending on TikTok, for all the wrong reasons. At school, the shift was instant. Her little fan club of followers didn't swarm her locker like they usually did. Instead, they whispered, snickered, pulled up my video on their phones. Some even mimicked her fake smile, mocking her exactly the way she had mocked me. And Ava? She was unraveling. I watched from across the hallway as she scrolled through her phone, her face pale, eyes wide. Her perfect posture crumbled as she shoved her phone into her bag and stormed out of class. For the first time, the confidence that had always radiated from her was gone. She looked small. At home, it was worse. She slammed her bedroom door and screamed into her pillow loud enough for the whole house to hear. Between sobs, I caught pieces of her rant. They hate me. They think I'm fake. This is ruined. The irony didn't escape me. For months, she had laughed at my pain, paraded my humiliation for her fans. Now the world was laughing at her, and there was no escape. And me? I didn't feel guilty. Not one bit. Watching her empire of lies crumble was the sweetest justice I could have imagined. For the first time in a long time. The joke wasn't on me, it was on her. The days that followed felt surreal, like I was living in a completely different version of my life. For once, when I walked down the school hallway, people weren't snickering at me. They were whispering about Ava. I heard words like fake, toxic, and mean girl tossed around in the same breath as her name. Some students even came up to me, awkwardly apologizing for laughing at her jokes before, saying they hadn't realized how cruel she really was. It was strange. For months I had been invisible, a background character in her spotlight. Now suddenly people saw me, not as a punchline, not as the crybaby sister, but as someone who had taken a stand. And the truth was, it felt good. More than good. It felt like breathing fresh air after being trapped underwater for too long. Ava, meanwhile, was unraveling. Her follower count plummeted overnight. The comments on her newest posts were merciless. Where's the real Ava? Apologize to your sister. Not so funny now, huh? She tried to make a tearful video claiming she was misunderstood, but the damage was already done. Every word she spoke sounded hollow against the evidence I'd shown. At home, the tension was thick. She barely left her room, and when she did, her eyes were red from crying. Mom and Dad didn't know what to say. Part of them still clung to the idea of Ava as their golden girl, but even they couldn't deny what everyone else had seen. For once, they turned their attention to me, asking how I was feeling, if I was okay. It was bittersweet. I had longed for their recognition, but it had taken exposing my sister's cruelty to get it. And me, I felt lighter. For the first time in years, I wasn't carrying the weight of her jokes, her constant belittling. I could finally sketch in my notebook or sing while doing chores without worrying a camera was pointed at me. The humiliation that had once wrapped around me like chains had snapped. I wasn't her shadow anymore. Still, I'd be lying if I said there wasn't a part of me that felt conflicted. Watching Ava crumble, hearing her sobs echo through the walls, it didn't erase the hurt she caused me, but it did remind me that revenge always comes with a price. I had wanted her to feel what I felt, to taste the humiliation she had forced down my throat, and she did. But in the quiet moments, I wondered if I had gone too far. Yet every time that doubt surfaced, I remembered the tears I shed in silence, the nights I stayed awake replaying her videos, the countless times I begged her to stop. She had chosen cruelty again and again. All I had done was hold up a mirror, and in the end, that was the most poetic justice of all. Ava built her empire on exposing me. But it was her own secrets, her own ugliness that destroyed her. For the first time, the spotlight wasn't hers. It was mine.